afternoon, great Americans. It's another great American video. It's not a long video. Unfortunately, it's not I wish it was short enough to put it on TikTok. Um, it's not that. This is sort of just a medium video. I just, I've done videos on about every topic I can possibly think of. I mean, I've covered everything, whether it's taxes or the military or the Middle East, Trump, Democrats, the war on children, all kinds of stuff. Now I'm just going to do really short videos. Every time I hear something important, I got to say something about it. And this is important. Excuse me. I just saw a short video by Dana Loesch, and she mentioned something that I hadn't heard about. Apparently, a bunch of generals and admirals in the Pentagon are angry with Pete Hegseth and they want to quit or whatever. And, I have my differences with Dana Loesch, but she was spot on when she said, look, she said, I'm just going to tell it like it is. She goes, your job is to take orders and carry them out. If you don't like it, get the hell out. If you don't like Hegseth, go join the North Korean military. You can wear a lot of medals if you join the North Korean military. And but for 4 years they bent over and took it from a hapless idiot who was letting the borders wide open and letting foreigners commit crimes in America. But Trump, but what are the generals? I'm not even sure what they're mad at. Is it because they renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War? Well, I can see why that might bother them since they haven't been able to win a war since World War II. Is it because Pete Hegseth brought back military standards for boot camp and training? Well, I can also see why that might bother them since they're all a bunch of fucking lard asses who couldn't pass their own standards. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is very important. My dad was in the military, and here's a little fact that I learned a long time ago. I learned this a long time ago, and I learned it from several sources. One of those sources was a man named Richard Marcinko, who unfortunately passed away. But he was one of the first Navy SEALs. He was in right from the get-go with the creation of the Navy SEALs. And man, this dude, Marcinko, he was brutal. That man is a warrior. He was a true warrior. And he wrote a lot of fiction books. But his very first book was a factual truth book about being in the Navy SEALs and stuff. And he said something which I have heard from many other sources too, and it's a truth. And that is this: in the military, once you get your first star, whether you're a one-star general, or you're the lowest admiral, I forget what that is. Is that a rear admiral? What? The lowest admiral, possibly even a full bird colonel in the army, but at the very least, your first star. So if you know the rankings of the military in the army, you go from second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, major, colonel, or lieutenant colonel, then one-star general, then two-star general, three-star general, four-star general. Five-star generals are a special weird. It's pretty much four-star general. Those last four rankings, once you get your first star, it is a known fact in the military that you really are more of a politician at this point than you are really a warrior. There's not a lot. I mean, there are some fighting generals who remain warriors. Like, remember Stormin Norman Schwarzkopf in the first Gulf War. He was, I think he was a three-star general during that war. But he was a warrior. So you do have some of the warrior generals who remain out in the field or on the ships at sea. But it is a known fact that a lot of generals and admirals once they get their first star, and especially once you get up to 4 stars, are often more politicians than warriors. And so it's, you know, it's fair to say that in the Pentagon, you can support the military. How do I say this? It is possible to do two things at the same time. It is possible to support the troops and support the military and support the fighting men and women who risk their lives. And of course, I do. It is also possible to criticize the lazy, lard ass pieces of shit generals and admirals who are in the Pentagon and who cannot do anything except shine the seat with their big fat ass. Okay? These are the kind of generals and admirals that don't like Pete Hegseth, right? The piece of shit politicians. They may wear the uniform, but down inside they're Democrats, politicians, leftists, and liberals who have no place in the military. Now, I'll tell you something else too. These two things go together. The Army now has more 4-star generals serving on active duty than the Army and Air Force combined had during World War II. The last time, see, this is on military.com. So why does that matter? Oh, why do we need? We were able to win World War II, a global war, with just a handful of generals and admirals. And today, we have a much smaller military, but we got tons of admirals and generals. And frankly, they can't win a war. We have not completely declared victory in any war since World War II. Well, you could say the Iraq War. Actually, I take that back. So the Iraq War under this young Bush, we actually did move in, took Iraq, took it. So from the military operation point of view, we actually did complete that. So I take that back. That's the exception. But other than that, we have not won a war since World War II. So what's my point? My point is, who needs them? Apparently, all these extra generals and admirals aren't doing us a bit of good. They're not winning us any wars. They're crying about Pete Hegseth. They're crying that Trump is getting rid of their DEI and their trannies and their pussies and their fat lard ass sissies. So fuck them. Let them get the fuck out. We don't need them. We are too top heavy in the military as it is. At the risk of sounding racist, we have way too many chiefs and not enough Indians. We need more warriors. And we need more real warriors, not just, I respect everybody that goes into the service, but when you go into, for a long time, a lot of people join just to get the college tuition and stay in for 3. Those people aren't warriors. We need warriors, man. We need warriors. So anyway, the point is, generals and admirals are angry with Pete Hegseth. Fuck them. They're nothing but hacks anyway. We don't need them. They're more politician than they are general, and they're probably liberals, and we don't need liberals and Democrats in the ranks anyway, because they just have too many anti-American ideas. So that's the short video for today. Draining the Pentagon swamp. Draining the Pentagon swamp. It's a whole different swamp than the one up on Capitol Hill. Anyway, like and share our videos, and we'll see you in the next Great American video. Adios, muchachos.